Well, joining us now, Yashwant Sinha, former finance and foreign minister and now a leader with the Trinamool Congress. Mr. Sinha, great to see you in a completely new avatar. Quite unexpected. Who would have thought that I wouldn't be introducing you today as a BJP leader or a former BJP leader, but a Trinamool leader today. But sir, the imagery today is significant in Bengal because in 1990, Mamta was struck by a CPM man, by a CPM goon, when she, and then she was injured, but she reappeared campaigning for a midterm poll, and she had bandages on her head and arm, and that imagery may have worked then. In fact, it did, because she won by a 13% margin. Now, do you believe her injuries this time around, the fact that she is on a wheelchair campaigning, will work to her electoral advantage?
Well, despite the falsehood which has been sought to be spread by the BJP and other adversaries of Mamta Banerjee, the fact of the matter is that she is hurt, that her leg is in a plaster cast, she is unable to move, she is hurt at many other places also, and she is still campaigning in this condition. So naturally, it is quite natural that this will evoke the sympathy of the people like it did way back. And I'm quite sure that the people were with her even from before, and this will be an added incentive for her, for them to support Mamta Banerjee.
Mr. Sinha, at last count, there were approximately 16 Trinamool leaders who had quit the party. How does your joining Mamta Banerjee make a serious difference to the prospects of the Trinamool Congress? Your detractors would say it makes no difference at all.
That is not really for me to assess. All this happened rather quickly. To tell you the truth, I just sent a very cryptic small message to Derek O'Brien in which I said that if my joining the TMC will help you gain even one more seat, then I'm willing to do that. And he moved very quickly, and within a day, everything was tied up. I traveled to Kolkata, met Mamta Banerjee, and then joined the Trinamool Congress in the Trinamool office. I returned to Delhi yesterday in the evening, but the reason why I did it was that I wanted to strengthen her hands. She is fighting her battle, she is fighting the battle of Bengal, but she is also fighting for the nation. This Bengal election, because of all the hype that the BJP has created around it, has suddenly become an election of national importance. And therefore, it's very important that Mamta wins and that the BJP loses in Bengal. It will send a nationwide message of assurance.
In this partnership, or are you part of the Trinamool today because of the elections and what you mentioned, or are you going to have a serious stake in the politics of Bengal going forward, in development and everything associated with it in Bengal going forward? Will you be, in a sense, a Bengali leader, a leader from Bengal?
Well, now that I am in the Trinamool Congress, it entirely depends on the party to give me whatever responsibilities and role they want me to play in the present election as well as in future. So I am leaving it to them. I joined them unconditionally. I had absolutely no conditions, preconditions for joining the party. And, like I've always done, it's entirely up to the leadership of the party to give me the role and the responsibility they want me to discharge.
Now, Mr. Sinha, let's look at the situation on the ground in Bengal. Now, in 2019, the Trinamool relied heavily on support from the Muslim voter. They make up 27% of Bengal's population. This, in fact, gave her approximately a 9% boost in her overall vote share. But now the left and the Congress have tied up with the young cleric Abbas Siddiqui. He's extremely charismatic. Will this not damage the BJP's prospects?
Well, I will not like to discuss the voting pattern in terms of communities. I think Mamata Banerjee and the TMC appeal across all sections, which includes the minorities. Other political parties, in this case, the left and the Congress, are also in the fray. And I would consider it very natural for every participant in this election to increase its vote share.
Right.
So the tying up with this outfit does raise questions like in your mind. But let me also tell you that the minorities have always voted very wisely in all elections. They know what is good for them, what is not good for them, and therefore they will vote wisely in this election also, irrespective of where somebody else is or not.
What about the importance of upper castes in Bengal elections? Now, they account for 12 to 13% of Bengal's population. And here you've got a Mithun Chakrabarti who's joined the BJP, an upper caste person. He could make a mark and he's very popular still in Bengal. Again, is that a concern?
I don't think that is a concern. I think the biggest star in Bengal today is Mamata Banerjee herself. And there is no other star who can come anywhere near her. And as I said earlier, let every party try and do its best in the election. But ultimately, I have no doubt in my mind that it will be a thumping victory for the TMC.
Now, you've spoken about something which not many, I certainly didn't know about, that when there was that the Kandahar hijack, the Indian Airlines plane was hijacked to Kandahar, there was a discussion, and Mamata Banerjee said that she would go there as a hostage, right? So she would go be a hostage for the Taliban if they released all those passengers. Tell us a little bit about how that actually happened. What exactly did Mamata say?
Well, it happened like this, that the cabinet was meeting and naturally the discussion was on the hostages who had been taken to Kandahar in that Indian Airlines hijacked plane. And those very difficult times, you will recall. And in the cabinet meeting, Mamata Banerjee offered that if it helped, she was prepared to go to Kandahar and offer herself as a hostage in lieu of the release of all the passengers of the Indian Airlines plane. It was, I thought, a very courageous act on her part to make this offer. Of course, the situation was not conducive for this kind of for a bargain, so it didn't really materialize. But I can't forget it because I was present in that meeting and I thought it was an act of great courage on her part to make this kind of an offer.
Yeah. Mr. Sinha, one or two final questions. Can Mamata seriously unite an anti-BJP opposition? Because let's look at who's supporting Mamata at this stage. There's the Shiv Sena, there's the RJD, the JMM, the NCP and the Samajwadi Party. But parties staying away are the Congress and left. They're fighting these elections alone. But, looking at not just Bengal, but at the larger issue of an anti-BJP coalition, where do you see the Trinamool in this? Do you see the Trinamool as a leader?
I would only like to say this at this point of time, that Mamata's victory in the Bengal elections and the size of that victory is going to be crucial for opposition unity going forward. And obviously, if Mamata is able to win Bengal, as I'm sure she will, then she already is a very important leader of the opposition. She will be an even more important leader of the opposition. And I'm quite sure she would like to play her role in bringing the opposition parties together to take on the BJP. All
right, Mr. Yashwant Sinha, a new innings for you in your long, distinguished political career. All the very best. Thank you very much for speaking to us.